Welcome to a special edition of A Cow's Opinion where we're looking at Tactics Ogre Reborn, which today dropped a huge, it's very late, but I had stuff to do today, huge detail upgrade, update, whatever you want to call it, with units, charms, battle updates, balance adjustments, shop improvements, classes, characters, tons of new info courtesy of Game Sutra. So we're going to look at it, and it is really, really cool. So first of all, we know it is the redone of Tactics Ogre Let Us Clean Together. It is going to be modernized and impressed upon that this is going to be the Ultimate Edition. So in the original Tactics Ogre, there were requirements for using equipment such as weapons and armor, consumables, and recovery, magic. Some types of equipment had level restrictions and others required separate specialty skills to equip. In Reborn, you can equip and use anything as soon as you find it. However, there are still certain class restrictions. For example, a knight will not equip a bow and a cleric cannot equip attacks. Makes sense. Each unit will have equipment slots, 7 for weapons and armor, 4 for consumables, and 4 for magic. So there's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hang on, click on this. So it looks like you have one weapon in one hand, one weapon in another. You could probably have a double-handed weapon. Your helmet, your chest, your arms, your feet, and an accessory. Here's your 4 item slots. Here's your 4 skill slots. Here's your 4 spell slots. There you go. Deciding what combination of gear and abilities to bring into battle is more fun and satisfying than ever. Skills have been revamped. So you get skills as you level up, and given each class its own distinct style to play. As with consumables and magic, you can only have 4 skills, so you have to put thought into specific combinations. I think this is different because there were, in the previous versions of the game, they had tons and tons of skills, but most of them were passive. So I think they're getting rid of a lot of the passive ones, or combining them into better stuff. They've also added new skills, and retuned the effects of others to broaden the range of strategies. For example, if you can attack an enemy standing between your own units, the new pincer attack skill will trigger, causing the ally behind the enemy to make an additional attack. Now, that's interesting. So, like, very mobile characters should be using that. Finishing moves, ninjutsu, and war dances got upgraded as well. Upgrade. So, units can learn powerful finishing moves by meeting certain requirements. In Let Us Clean Together, finishing moves, ninjutsu, and war dancers require the acclimation and uses of technical points, and sometimes certain regions. But, all these abilities will now only require magic points like that. That's pretty good. With these abilities unified to using MP, it's much simpler to assess the status of units during battle, easier to construct a strategy. If I remember correctly, the thing about this game, so units will start a battle at 0, and then you'll gain MP as the battle continues, and that way wizards are not super overpowered and just nuking everything on turn 1. Charms are a new item that is introduced to give you more control over the development of your unit stats. You can use charms on the party formation screen to improve and alter your units. Interesting. Charms can be found during battle and after as a reward. The effects are that it raises a unit's level by 1, it can grant experience points, it can permanently increase stats, such as strength or agility, or it can change the element. Why would you want to change the element? I'm interested. Charms allow you to customize your units exactly how you want them without having to spend time grinding levels. So yeah, basically like strength, charm, dex, agility, and so all of your stats gives you X number of experience, changes into different elements. I understand. Okay, so yeah, that way if you like recruit somebody at level 1, you can build them how you want. I like that. New Battle Party Screen features. The Battle Party Screen, used to select and prepare units before sending them into battle, has also gained new features. Let's introduce 2 of them. The Scout command allows you to gather information. By selecting Scout on the Battle Party Screen, you can gain insight into the terrain and enemy forces, such as their location, their level, their class, or their equipment. Since you can change your unit's classes and equipment on the Battle Party screen, you can use the information gained to... So just basically, like, if I know I don't have a very mobile character and it's a very difficult to traverse battlefield, maybe I don't want to take him. You can also save up to 5 different parties, such as the number of enemy units or enemy class. So yeah, just like if you want to have... That is a ton of dudes. 7 major battle-related updates. First, we're going to turn the tables with buff cards. So during battle, an item called a buff card appears on the battlefield. When a unit picks up a buff card, it gains bonuses that last for the rest of the battle, like increased attack or crit chance. The bonus depends on the type of card found. Your units must vie against the enemy to... Ooh, interesting. And how you move and respond in combat to gain advantage is thrilling. A unit can have up to 4 buff cards at once, and the more buff cards with similar effects or stats, the greater the effect dramatically. Interesting. And next up is all new enemy AI adapts to each situation. So the enemy will consider the terrain, recognizing features such as narrow roads and wide open plains, as well as the player's movement, and decide where the battlefront is and how to best engage the player. Okay, in other words, your AI. So this is something that I kind of like, because I play a lot of Super Robot Wars. One of my favorites is to go back to my old GBA and play the original generation games there. The problem is that in a lot of times, the enemy AI is set to just destroy the character with the lowest HP it can find, which are usually your super dodgy people, and if you just tell your super dodgy people to dodge, then they'll literally try to attack with like 0% chance to hit. So I like that. They're making sure the AI is not going to make like super boneheaded moves. You can get additional rewards in addition to the normal battle victory conditions. Each battle has a new bonus objective. You'll be presented with a goal such as win with a knight in the battle party or obtain a buff card, and if completed, you will receive items such as charms and equipment. So here's an example. Here in this fight, you have to vanquish the enemy leader. Your hero cannot die, and at least one of your units must survive. But you do have these bonus objectives. If you deploy an archer in the battle party, you get 800 experience points. If you do an attack that hits multiple tiles, so an area of effect, you get 5 experience charms 3s, and if you get a buff card, you get 1 Thunder Flare 2. Don't know what that is, but it looks pretty good. And then here we go. So they didn't get to do this one, but they did win with an archer and obtain a buff card. And it's not just the enemy, because your AI units have upgraded too. So this is something that's a little controversial. If you want to let the computer control your units, you have Fierce Attacker, Start Defender, Distant Striker, and Audit Mender. You can also quickly toggle between manual and AI control for all units. So, in Super Robot Wars 30, they introduced a decent AI that could also play the game for you. Now, some people like that's really stupid, but I do know that some people like to do that with the majority of the units, because it not only speeds up the fight as long as they move decently, but it also, like, some people like watching that. I'm not. You can play the way you want. It doesn't really matter. Trajectory prediction eliminates costly mistakes. When you fire a weapon like a bow or a crossbow, or you cast spells that launch a projectile such as Deadshot, you will display the trajectory to make sure that the attacker can hit the target with. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, here you see clear line of sight. So you know I'm not going to hit the wrong person. That's pretty cool. Reviving incapacitated units. When an enemy attacks reduce HP to 0, it is incapacitated. And a countdown shown here. The laying down sprite image is a little weird, but okay. Is displayed, and the unit can be revived with consumables or magic before it reaches 0. Revive units act immediately after being raised, allowing them to move, recover more HP, or take action. Interesting. Units can be revived any number of times as long as the countdown never reaches 0, but if it does, the unit is deceased and cannot be revived again. You also have trading battles. The random encounters that occurred when moving on the world map are removed. Aww, I kind of like that in these games. But instead, you now engage in training battles at specific locations wherever you like. Units cannot be killed in training battles, making the leveling process much easier. Well, I guess that's fine. We also have some general balance adjustments. So adjustments were made to the stats, equipment, and skills of every unit, as well as the positions on the battlefield. T is probably a typo. The party level now, as you can see, I believe party level is right here. Went from 5 to 8, so this is probably early game. Probably union level is the same thing as party level, because it's 8 as well. Services the level cap. The party level cap gradually rises as players advance through the story, preventing you from grinding to arbitrarily high levels to brute force your way through the battle. The introduction of the party level makes the use of each unit more important, better emphasizing the tactical nature of the game. Since the party level is set slightly higher than the level of enemy units, it should no longer feel as if the difficulty jumps sharply after leveling up. Players can easily raise their unit's level through battle and charms, so even first-time players will find. I like that. So you can't just like, is it, if you go to YouTube, it's like, is it possible to become a god in the first hour of the game? It's not anymore. They've optimized the equipment, the consumables, the magic, the skills, the finishing moves, and the debuffs as part of the AI update, and with the goal of making the flow of battle simpler and easier to understand. Stats and ability activation requirements have been adjusted, and there have been additional additions and removals. The rogue class is reserved for enemy units. Oh, I can't have a sexy rogue on my party now, on my party roster. Shops, which are essential to progressing through the game's battles, have been improved to have a smoother experience to easily buy and sell equipment and hire new units. Improved user interface, which is good. Crafting success rate is now 100%. This is something a lot of people will complain about. Crafting, which enhances the performance of equipment and consumables, now succeeds 100% of the time, eliminating the wasted ingredients and the need to redo failed attempts. This is something a lot of people were complaining about in the previous versions of the game. You did not have a 100% chance of improving something, which means especially if in order to buff something it had required rare materials that were hard to get or costly to get, you had to grind a ton of extra ones because you were probably going to fail. A convenient function to craft multiple items at once has been added. Oh, that's nice. A class is a unit's profession, which is each with a different characteristic. A class mark, which can be attained from shops and through battles, is required to change classes. Here are a few of the classes that will appear in the game. We have warriors, male and female. Mainstay melee fighter with a wide variety of weapons. Jack of all trades, master of none. Warriors by no means flashy, but can gain a wide range of weapons and armor and active role in the front lines in the early game. It hasn't said how to get the class marks, so I'm guessing that they unlock or drop or can be get items as the game goes on. The Archer. Super OP in previous versions, not so much anymore, I believe. A ranged attacker, adept with bow and arrow, capable of taking down enemies from distance. They use bows and crossbows to chip away enemy health from the high ground. Indispensable support class. The Wizard. She looks more like a witch, but you know. A backline support class that wields a wide variety of magic, from offensive damage to debuff. Wizards play a vital role in the early game, showing their true worth in the hardest fought battles. The Cleric. He looks more like an exorcist, but I love that. And then she looks like she's ready to go. Look at that, man. A backline support class that mainly casts spells to restore HP and cure various ailments. Clerics are mainstay and healers who remain indispensable to the party, even like always bring healers. You're just going to need them. The Valkyrie, and now with a male equivalent Rune Fencer, a well-rounded caster of attack and healing spells, also adept at sword and spear play. This balanced class can attack aggressively or support with spells from the rear. Interesting. The Knight. Ooh, that's a knight? That looks like a knight, but that looks like a girl who was just slapped on some armor onto her Sunday best dress. I don't know. That looks a little weird. An excellent frontline class that uses its high defense and a smattering of healing spells to protect the battle party. Knights are indispensable units that serve as a bulwark against the enemy's advance, like pretty much every other game. The Berserker. Entirely unconcerned with their own safety, Berserkers charge into front lines to assail their enemies with weapons bared. Berserkers boast devastating attacks, making them a valuable part of the battle party, but they have relatively weak defenses and are easily damaged. This is what I want, the Terror Knight. Look at that. That looks very cool, but her helmet looks amazing. Look at like some freaking Lord of the Rings stuff, man. The howls of tormented spirits can be heard with every step of the Terror Knight's boots. Skilled in weakening enemy attacks and defense. Like the Knight, Terror Knights take advantage of their high defensive capabilities to shield the battle party while engaging on the front lines. Interesting. The Ninja or the Konochi. She looks a lot like a ninja does, except for maybe the boots because they're not wearing sandals. He kind of looks like it. He's wearing gi. That helmet looks a little more European, but maybe that's just me not knowing much about all the different helmets ninjas could wear. The sword definitely looks... She's got the, like, short sword and the sickle thingy there. His sword looks a little bit of like a East versus West kind of mashup, and I'm kind of for it. A nimble class that utilizes its mobility to quickly deploy its power whenever needed. Front or rear lines. Men are called ninja, women are called kunoichi. The ninjutsu spells they wield manipulate various spirits into unleashing punishing attacks even on distant enemies. Interesting. And that's okay, that's not all the classes, that's the ones that we have. And then we have some characters who have traveled abroad to reach the Valerian Isles, a land shaken by civil war. Some are wanderers from the great kingdom of New Zenobia. Others are members of the Dark Knights of Lothlorien. Warriors sent to aid the backroom Valerian kingdom after its leader, Regent Brenton Morn, forged a secret treaty with the Holy Lodician Empire. So there's going to be... Yeah, we learned about Denis, and there's his sister, and there's Vice. There's the Kingdom of Gaster, the North Kingdom, the South Isles, and the Resistance Movement leaders. Then we have the Dark Knights. Oh, there's a lot of Dark Knights, man. Twins. Oh. There's the High Priest of the Holy Lodician Empire, who is they're kind of an antagonist throughout a lot of the game. Although they're kind of also very, if I'm remembering my lore correctly, they're also kind of interested in making sure that they prevent the next ogre battle, which is when the demons and the ogres from the underworld try to come and kill all the people. So it's like very heavy-handed. But supposedly the end of the ogre battle series is Lordaeron invades a nation from earlier in the game again, and the ogre battle breaks out, and the Lodician Empire Knights start recruiting like characters and heroes from all across the saga for the what is hoping to be the final battle. But we don't know that yet. So we have Lancelot Hamilton, who is a holy knight from Zenobian, which is like the first ogre battle game back on the SNES. Warren was a wizard from that same game. Kenophis is also, I believe, from that same game. Mildred Wahorn, I don't remember him. But he's apparently a Zenobian as well, so we'll begin to use him too. Most of you guys are the same classes. I don't know how many of you are deploy. We have Luria, who is also Zenobian. Sister of Kenophis, so that'll be interesting. Deneb, who is freaking amazing and appears in many ogre battles, even though sometimes she's just a shopkeep. But, yeah, she's really fun, and I believe you can recruit her if you figure it out in this game. Then we have Lancelot Tartaros, who is a very, very disturbing Dark Knight of Lodician. He's actually, if I remember the lore right, the main character of... He had been mentioned as like a feared champion of the Empire, and then it turned out that you were playing him if you got the true ending, canonical ending of the GBA game of Ogre Battle, which is kind of freaking amazing. Then we have Balsaphon. Well, he looks like he's ready to kill you. Volok. He looks like he's ready to kill you. Man, these guys look much cooler than my guys. Maltrium. Barbus. Oh, man. He's got 2 blades, 1 for each hand. Oz. Ozma. Hello, Ozma. Do you want to come fight with me? From Gallia, she is of the noble house, renowned for their founding in Magi, Masters of Magic, and Lotus. Twin sister to the Dark Knight, she wields both spell and blade with equal skill. I like. And dude, this guy looks like he's really ready to kill. Look at what is that even? He's got like claws mounted on the underside. And Doras, small town in the borderlands, last of the former Niederham royal house, which once wielded great power throughout the Sea of Liha region. First hand-to-hand and is a masterful strategist. Interesting. I like that. And then we have stats. So, this is just an update. I'm still super hyped for this game and probably going to be on the channel in November. Guys, thank you. As always, you can hit that like button, subscribe, and leave comments below what you're interested in, what you think is cool on this, and I will see you next time.